Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News on CW18 starts now.
Right now at 10, Isaias heads north. Hurricane watches and warnings are now in effect on Florida's east coast and parts of central Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis has also asked President Trump to declare a state of emergency.
And that declaration would impact South Florida and much of central Florida. So tonight we have team coverage of the preparations underway right now. But we do want to begin with First Alert meteorologist Eric Burris with that latest information on the storm's path.
It is a Category 1 hurricane with winds of 80 miles an hour. Michelle, this storm system has looked better on satellite presentation as it's riding just south of the Bahama Islands. It's moving to the northwest at 15, so it has slowed down its forward momentum. That said, look what's ahead. It moves over toward Nassau tonight, and by tomorrow afternoon gets very close to South Florida. This is Palm Beach, that's Broward, that's Miami-Dade counties. As a Category 1 hurricane with winds of about 85 miles an hour. This is where the forecast gets difficult because we know it's going to make a right-hand turn and start moving due north, but the timing, when does that happen? Models today have given it more and more of a shift to the left or closer to the Sunshine State. And we think either it comes ashore in South Florida or gets awful close to South Florida. Here's 5 a.m. Sunday, the storm system right over about the St. Lucie Inlet, getting into our area. There's lunchtime on Sunday, lifting further to the north through Brevard County off the shore of Volusia by 6 p.m. Sunday and continuing northbound from there. Hurricane warnings are up for Brevard County. Hurricane watches are up for Volusia. That means with a warning, hurricane conditions are expected. With a watch, it means they're possible within 48 hours time. What about local impacts? We've got you covered county by county. Plus, we'll talk about the 7-day forecast in just a couple minutes.
A lot to talk about, Eric. Thank you. Isaias is only a Category 1 hurricane. I should say only with an asterisk mark, but it did leave some serious damage down in the Dominican Republic. Here's some new video of tonight of the aftermath from the storm. It brought torrential rain and caused flooding. People there spent the day cleaning their homes of mud and water. Here in central Florida, people are hoping to avoid seeing a similar mess.
Across our region, sandbags were filled, lawn furniture was brought in, and plans were changed. WESH 2's Kelsey Thord begins our team coverage tonight from Brevard County. Now, further inland, Orange, Seminole, and Osceola County leaders are expecting a glancing blow from the storm. WESH 2's Chris Guardaro reports. All right, it is important to note that there's a difference between a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning. In a hurricane watch, like Brevard County has, prepare to bring in any outdoor furniture, decorations, trash cans, hanging plants, anything that can be picked up and tossed around by the wind. Prepare to cover your windows and double check your storm supplies. And as always, stay tuned to WESH 2 on air or online, or even a weather radio for storm updates. Now, for a hurricane warning, pay attention to any evacuation orders. Complete those preparations that we just talked about. And if you don't evacuate, stay inside and away from any windows. Also, be alert for tornadoes, which can often happen during or after a hurricane passes.
Some of those supplies you'll want to keep on hand are listed here as well. You're going to need at least 1 gallon of water per person per day to last up to a week, some canned food and soup, and a manual can opener, a first aid kit, and 2 weeks worth of prescription medications, and of course a flashlight, extra batteries, and a weather radio. And a reminder, some COVID-19 testing sites will now be closed until the storm has passed. Testing at the Orange County Convention Center will resume on August 5th. Anyone who had an appointment will be contacted to reschedule. There is testing still available at other state-supported sites. Just check before you go.
Now, even if this hurricane doesn't hit central Florida hard, it is a good reminder that you should always be prepared. For a checklist of the things that you'll want to keep around the house, head to WESH.com. And we also have a list of where you can get sandbags. This is all under our hurricane tab.
It was another rough day for Florida's coronavirus outbreak. Another 9,000 new infections were reported today. 257 people are reported to have died within the past 24 hours. That's a new 4th day in a row. The number of people dying in Central Florida has also doubled in just the past 2 weeks. Infections in Central Florida are now topping 80,000. We've learned Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood has also tested positive for COVID-19. The sheriff is home where he will be quarantined for the next 14 days. He tells us he found out this morning, but says his symptoms are very mild. The sheriff says he notified staff and has taken other precautions. He is urging everyone to get tested.
Universal Orlando Resort says challenging times during the pandemic. They're forcing another round of layoffs. Officials released this statement today, which says in part, we have again made the difficult decision to reduce our workforce to reflect current priorities and needs. We are grateful for their contribution, and we will support them through this process with severance pay, subsidized health benefits, and reemployment assistance. Universal also says it is prioritizing daily operations and will continue to pause longer-term projects like their next theme park, Epic Universe, as the tourism industry recovers from COVID-19. And you can count on WESH 2 as we continue to monitor the coronavirus and its impact in our local communities. One useful tool is our WESH 2 newsletter. You can sign up right now on WESH.com.
New at 10, a mess in DeLeon Springs State Park. Volusia County tells WESH 2 3 sinkholes have formed. They were all discovered this morning. One of them is estimated to be 40 feet wide, 20 feet deep. 2 other smaller sinkholes were also found just outside of the park. One of them caused damage to Park Avenue between Cortez Avenue and DeSoto Drive. No one has had to leave their homes, but the county says that is still a possibility. Tonight, a 22-year-old man in Orlando is accused of being connected to a recent Twitter hack that targeted the accounts of famous people. Nemo Fazeli was arrested alongside a man from the United Kingdom and a 17-year-old from Tampa. The teen is believed to have been the mastermind in this. He alone is facing 30 charges of fraud, many of which are felonies. Still ahead, a shocking twist in the Boston Marathon bombing case. Why a federal appeals court has now thrown out the death sentence for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Plus, 2 people dead and another recovering after a violent home invasion in an Orange County neighborhood. We have the details in this investigation.
Being informed during this time is critical, and Estrella TV brings you expanded coverage and everything you need to know about the coronavirus.
The closing down of borders.
The most updated information, the latest experts' recommendations, official newsletters for the coronavirus health emergency. Only here in Estrella TV News. Special coverage, Coronavirus La Pandemia. At 12 p.m., 11 Central, 4 p.m., 3 Central, and 9 p.m., 8 Central.
New tonight, a federal appeals court has overturned the death sentence of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. He and his brother planted homemade bombs near the finish line of the 2013 Boston Marathon. 3 people were killed, hundreds more were hurt. President Trump was in Tampa when he heard the news from the court.
I see in Boston, where you have the animal that killed so many people during the Boston Marathon, they just sent his conviction for the death penalty back to the lower court, so they'll argue about that for a long time. It's ridiculous. Think of that. It's ridiculous.
The court also ruled to set aside 3 of Tsarnaev's convictions, but said that he will remain in federal prison for the rest of his life. Locally in Orange County, investigators say 2 people are dead and another is seriously hurt after being attacked with a baseball bat.
This happened last night in Windermere during a home invasion. WESH 2's Paul Rivera reports on what we know so far. A heads up for drivers. More work is set to happen on the I-4 Ultimate project in downtown Orlando. Obviously, weather pending. The westbound ramp to 408 is shifting to Orange Avenue as the ramp from Division Avenue closes permanently. The ramp was temporarily relocated to Division Avenue 4 years ago in order to work on the interchange.
Tonight, Hurricane Isaias continues to head north toward Florida, but Florida isn't the only place preparing. Hilton Head, South Carolina isn't taking any chances with this storm. Leaders there are expecting rip currents to be higher than usual.
A rip current's pulling you straight offshore. You want to swim sideways out, because if you try to swim directly in, that's where you get a lot of drownings, because people are trying to fight the rip current, and a rip current, you can't swim as fast as the rip is pulling you out.
Isaias is expected to reach Hilton Head by Monday afternoon.
And because of that forecast, the entire East Coast is watching this storm very closely.
Let's get over to First Alert meteorologist Eric Burris. Eric, we haven't gotten that latest update yet, but where's the storm right now?
It's sitting just south of the central Bahamas as a Category 1 with winds of 80 miles an hour. A lot of people on Facebook Live earlier were asking about rapid intensification. Is that something that could happen? And while we're watching the storm system, hurricane hunters did find it a bit stronger tonight. There's also Sahara hair and dust, just a little bit of it. There's a little bit of wind shear, so we're not expecting anything to happen quickly. There's a lot of things working against Isaías, but nevertheless, we have got 2 aircraft flying right now, getting the very latest data. We'll have, of course, that update for you just about 11 o'clock tonight. Let's follow this on Futurecast, pushing through the Bahamas, approaching South Florida sometime early on Sunday. It has slowed its forward progression down, and because as such, this is Sunday afternoon. You're seeing some of those more intense winds coming in here through Brevard County, getting up into Volusia, and then eventually moving off the east coast. Let's look at the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center, but looking at it with wind cone, okay? The area in red here, that's the hurricane force winds, 74 miles per hour or above. The orange is that strong tropical storm force winds, and the yellow is tropical storm force wind gusts. This is 11 o'clock tomorrow night, and you can see Palm Beach County getting in on the rougher weather. But for us, 6 a.m. Sunday is when we start to see those orange shades moving in, crossing the Sebastian Inlet and getting into southern Brevard County. From there, we watch it moving through Brevard County. By 2 p.m., for example, hurricane force winds included for the Barrier Islands and Merritt Island. But as soon as you approach about US 1 or I-95, the winds dramatically come down into that 40, 50, 60 mile per hour wind gust range. After 2 p.m., we lift this to the north. We see those strong tropical storm force winds into coastal Volusia County. And then, of course, the storm system lifts up to the north and moves out of our area. So when we talk about communities, I want to make sure you know exactly what to expect. For Brevard County, the worst of your weather, 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening on Sunday. Winds running 60 to 70 miles an hour with gusts running 80, 90, even up to 100 miles per hour, depending on any strengthening that this does. Storm surge also looks to build 2 to 4 feet. Further to the north into Volusia County for you a little bit later because you're further to the north. 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. would be the worst of the weather for you. 50 to 60 mile per hour winds with gusts running 70, 80, 85 miles an hour. Inland to Orange County, not as big of an impact, especially the further west you go. Gusts for you 45 to 60. Your worst weather 11 a.m. to about 8 p.m. And into Lake County, again, you're further west, so gusts would be 30 to 40 miles per hour. 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. being the worst of your weather. For us tonight, just a couple of clouds, temperatures into the 80s, and a few pop-up late evening showers and thunder showers over Lake County, working over toward I-75. Forecast then this weekend includes the tropics. We're tracking them, especially those impacts late Saturday, Saturday night, and into Sunday. Then by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll get back to normal. We'll really break down those impacts, help you plan the weekend, and talk about if you need to put shutters up along the coast when I see you in the next half hour.
Okay, Eric, thank you. Still ahead, phys ed during a pandemic. The new way some students will be taking class this year. Plus, one of America's favorite daytime talk shows is speaking out after allegations of a toxic work environment behind the scenes.
WESH 2 weather on CW18 is driven by Toyota of Orlando and Toyota of Claremont.
It's CW18 Saturday Night Laughs, starring Mom.
I'm sorry, that's not a joke.
And the Goldbergs.
Go ahead, keep laughing. Doesn't bother me.
They're not live, but they will make you laugh. Only on CW18.
Welcome back. Ellen DeGeneres is responding to allegations that her talk show fosters a toxic environment. An employee confirms the comedian sent an email Thursday apologizing to staffers at the Ellen DeGeneres show. In the letter, she says she is disappointed after reports by BuzzFeed that current and former staff members face intimidation and racism. Ellen says she started the show with the intention of creating a happy, respectful environment. She admits she has learned that is now not the case. She says an internal investigation has also been launched. Now that some schools are just a few weeks out from starting, many teachers are preparing their online and virtual classrooms.
Aaron Boo from our sister station in Oklahoma City wanted to know what PE classes would look like in a virtual world. Fans may not have been in the stands today for the Orlando Magic's first game back, but that didn't mean that they were left off the court. The Magic tipped off the first of 8 games this afternoon against the Brooklyn Nets at ESPN Wide World of Sports. Fans will be able to get in on the action of each game with 6 mini games on the new Magic Vision mobile app. Prizes include player autographed items, tickets to future games, and gift cards. We're going to bring you all the highlights from today's game coming up a little later on in sports. Americans are apparently on a spending spree, but that may wear off soon. The Census Bureau says personal spending rose 5.6% in June. It follows an 8.5% surge in May. People bought a lot of clothing, particularly shoes. Americans drastically pulled back on their shopping in March and April as the coronavirus crisis hit. They believe the $1,200 stimulus checks that many people received apparently could have played a factor in that.
You just mentioned the Magic. I also want to give a quick shout out to the Orlando City Lions.
Oh my goodness, this newsroom was
The newsroom was going crazy.
Yeah.
I will spoiler alert, they won, but in exciting fashion. Our sports director will have the full story coming up in just a few moments when WESH News at 10 also returns.
All right, still to come, we're tracking Hurricane Isaias. We're going to get the latest from meteorologist Eric Burris.
No one knows your business like you do. And if you're looking to reach adults in their prime spending years, CW18 has the targeted programming to get your message in front of this key audience exactly when and where they're available. You do what you do best. Focus on your business. And let CW18 do what we do best. Focus on your success. For a free analysis of your marketing strategy, reach out to us today at advertise@CW18TV.com.
Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News on CW18 starts now.
And welcome back. We are continuing to track Hurricane Isaias and how it will impact us here in Central Florida.
We're anticipating that 11 o'clock advisory shortly from the National Hurricane Center. But let's check in now with meteorologist Eric Burris for what we know right now.
Yeah, capital H is basically the situation here. It is a hurricane moving generally toward the Sunshine State. Category 1 intensity. Maximum sustained winds are at 80 miles an hour. And if you notice, we're kind of getting a blowup of convection on the back side. The front side, where the actual area of low pressure is centered, is dealing with some wind shear, some dry air, just kind of things working against it. So while maximum sustained winds are sitting at 80 miles an hour, it's going to probably either hang out where it's at, maybe get a little stronger, maybe get a little weaker. We're not anticipating any rapid intensification here. As it works over towards southeast Florida by about Saturday afternoon, we know it's going to make a bit of a right-hand turn, but the timing on this is everything, and the difference of an hour or two on the turn would be the difference between it staying out to sea or making landfall. This is 5:30 Sunday morning. Maximum sustained winds at about 80 miles an hour, then lifting up to the north, moving through either onshore at Brevard County or very near shore by about lunchtime Sunday, and then lifting to the north, coastal Volusia County, 6:30, eventually continuing out to sea. Hurricane watch posted for Volusia County, hurricane warning posted for Brevard County, but even inland spots. West Volusia under a tropical storm watch, Seminole, Orange, and Osceola under tropical storm warnings. We'll talk much more about local impacts in a couple of minutes.
All right, Eric, thank you. Hurricane Isaias continues on its path towards Florida, as Eric has been saying, with the effects to be felt within 48 hours.
Officials from the Palm Beaches to the Treasure Coast are preparing for the hurricane as it also inches closer to land. Steve King from our sister station in West Palm Beach is in Palm Beach County with more. Remember to download the WESH 2 News app. It will be your best tool as we continue to track the hurricane, and be sure to enable those alerts to be among the first to know about any possible changes.
Turning now to our coronavirus coverage, Florida continues to be the second in the nation for the number of confirmed infections this year. Today, we are 470,000. Orange, Polk, and Osceola counties continue to add hundreds of new cases every day. Orange is now getting closer to that 30,000 mark. And unemployment remains a major hurdle for thousands of Central Floridians.
While many businesses have been able to reopen, some only now employ a fraction of the workers they once did.
As the government continues to go back and forth on a plan to help those in need, WESH 2's Bob Hazen reports how many here say they need help now.
A local state Senate race is getting nasty, with flyers attacking one of the candidates from a group that's supporting another. But voters might be fooled by the group, and the two candidates involved call it all dirty politics. We'll get the story from WESH 2 political reporter Greg Fox. Now, the winner of the Democratic primary in Senate District 9, as Greg just mentioned, will face Republican Broder and independent candidate Justine Ayanota in the November general election. As part of our Commitment 2020 coverage, we are also hosting many debates with the candidates who are running for office on the August primary ballot. We're giving the men and women who want to represent you in local government, as well as in Tallahassee and D.C., a chance to share where they stand on Central Florida's critical issues. You can see all of these mini debates hosted by WESH 2 political reporter Greg Fox on the Commitment 2020 page of WESH.com. Still ahead, will Hurricane Isaias keep two of our astronauts in orbit instead of bringing them home? They've been up there since that historic space flight back in May, when NASA plans to make the final call on Sunday's splashdown. Next.
We move beyond the Beltway to hear from everyday Americans, more focused on policy than partisanship. I'm Soledad O'Brien. For conversations as diverse as America, join me for Matter of Fact.
Sunday morning at 8 on CW18.
Two astronauts still scheduled to also splash down Sunday from a historic space flight, even with the hurricane lurking near the potential landing site off the Cape.
Late tonight, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine tweeted that they will continue to monitor the situation before they actually undock tomorrow night. WESH 2's Dan Billow reports. And we will keep you posted on what NASA decides, and when the astronauts do return, we will bring it to you live on WESH 2 and on WESH.com. All right, let's talk about that first alert forecast. We are watching this hurricane as it moves towards Florida. We are moments away from that 11 p.m. update. Eric, what do you know right now?
Just got the 11 o'clock update, as a matter of fact. Michelle, the Hurricane Center still has this as a Category 1, very, very close to the coastline, literally just coming in about 35 seconds ago, which is why we're just kind of trying to get the latest information. They do not show it getting much stronger than it is right now. Maximum sustained winds are at 80 miles per hour. They're still calling for 85 right up to about landfall or scraping along the East Coast. This is a fairly identical forecast to what we saw earlier. I want to show you one of the reasons why we're not really shifting things around much. This is the European and the GFS computer forecast models, both in pretty tight agreement that the storm system approaches South Florida 9:30 tomorrow night and kind of impacts all of the East Coast communities. You see those colors going away because according to these models, the winds are going to be subsiding as they interact with land and of course lift up further to the north. So based on everything that we're seeing, if you live along the barrier islands here, in Brevard County, even Merritt Island, and across coastal portions of the county, basically east of 95, you're looking at the potential to see hurricane force winds running up to 90, 95, 100 miles an hour. As it lifts further to the north, the storm system should start lifting further north instead of kind of northeast. And we think the worst of the winds will then move off the shoreline. So if you live in basically all of Brevard, all of Volusia, all of Flagler, you could expect strong tropical storm force winds with gusts into hurricane range. But notice the rest of Central Florida highlighted in yellow because we're expecting for you tropical storm force wind gusts. Otherwise, it'll be quite a bit quieter. There's a look at the system itself. The reason that we've seen some shifting today in those models is because the storm system did not really get organized, didn't really develop. A stronger storm system would have easily recurved out to sea. The weaker the storm was, though, the closer it tried to sneak to our East Coast and thus kind of keep us watching. Here's a look at the intensity models. They're not bullish at all with development. They're keeping it right where it is, if not weakening it, right up to about landfall. So keep that in mind. Want to take you county by county on several counties. We'll start here in Flagler County. 5 p.m. Sunday through about 2 a.m. Monday is going to be the worst of your weather with wind gusts running 55, 60, even up to 70 miles per hour. And of course, beachside communities have to deal with that storm surge of 2 to 4 feet. For Osceola County, we're talking about the worst of your weather a bit earlier because you're further to the south. 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. and wind gusts, especially out here near Kenansville, Yeehaw Junction, Holopaw, Deer Park, 45, 50, even 60 miles per hour. And then to Sumter County out west, we're talking about winds gusting 30 to 40 for you. Worst of your weather, kind of 11 to 8 o'clock. Last but not least, up here into Marion County, where it's about 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., some gusts and half inch to an inch of rain possible. At this point in time, it's a warm, muggy night. The good news is most of your Saturday is looking normal. That's the normal day. If you live beachside in Brevard and you're a little concerned, it's not a bad idea to maybe put up some of your shutters on your northern and eastern surfaces. For Sunday, we're tracking the tropics as Isaias makes a very close pass to Central Florida. Back to normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Well, coming up in sports, it's a huge day for sports. Inside both bubbles at Disney, we will take you there talking Magic, and what a celebration for Orlando City. You won't believe how the Lions pulled this one out. We're headed to a magical place. Next in sports.
Tonight at 11, join Charlie and the boys in the CW18 Late Night Comedy Club.
Let's do this thing.
It all kicks off with one of the most hilarious, wildest, raunchiest, out of control shows on TV.
Sounds like fun.
Anything goes on this show.
I'm gonna do some real freaky stuff.
2.5 Men, part of the CW18 Late Night Comedy Club. Brought to you by Hudson's Furniture, the home of free design services.
Hello, everybody. I'm Darren Stoltzfus. Orlando City has looked like an entirely different team in this tournament. A different mentality, a different aggressiveness, and a much stronger resiliency. Tonight, they were tested by the hottest team in MLS, and they passed that test. A spot in the semifinals on the line. Down 1-0, 90th minute, 92. Former LAFC defender Yao Mutno. He ties it with a header home. That's a 1-1 game. They go to penalty kicks, tied at 4 win. Guess who? Nani, game winner. Lions advance. Zach Maskovich was inside the bubble tonight. He joins us live now from Disney's Wide World of Sports. Zach, what a game.
Yeah, Darren, and how fitting is it that the team from Orlando is the Cinderella story here at Disney and ESPN's Wide World of Sports. Orlando City's captain, Nani, comes through in the clutch yet again. You'll remember back to Orlando City's first game in this tournament, Nani scores the game-winning goal in extra time, and that game really kick-started this team's run in this tournament. And then today, Nani sparking the celebration for Orlando City as they are on to the semifinals. This game was the epitome of the Lions' time here in this tournament. They get crafty when it counts. They send LAFC home with a sour taste in their mouth, while the hometown team continues their stay inside the bubble. Orlando City is now 2 wins away from a tournament championship on Thursday. They'll get the winner between Minnesota and San Jose. But of course, they were not the only hometown team in action here at Disney's Wide World of Sports, as the Orlando Magic started off their bubble play here today. With more on that game, let's send it over to WESH 2 Sports. Kendra Douglas.
Hey, Zach, the Orlando Magic getting that big win today, beating the Brooklyn Nets 128-118 for the NBA restart. You had Magic forward Jonathan Isaac, who became the first player in the bubble to choose not to kneel with his teammates. Standing or not, the Magic were definitely unified on the court. Evan Fournier and Nikola Vucevic combined for 46 points to help with the win. The team led by 30 at one point, but the Nets finding a way to cut that lead. Magic having to work a little bit more. Orlando picking back up from where they left off before the NBA restart.
We knew that their big was going to be, deep drop, and so we had to attack the big and find the open man. And the other thing is we made shots. I mean, when you find the right guy, the right spot, and he's able to knock it down, it changes everything.
All right, the Magic will return back on the court on Sunday, taking on the Kings. Darren, sending it back to you in the studio.
Thank you both. Lots of things going well for Orlando in sports. Good to see. All right, send it over to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Darren. Of course, we are all keeping our eyes on the tropics this
That's right. Let's get one last check of that forecast with Eric.
All right, so the 11 o'clock advisory is in. Maximum sustained winds still at 80 miles an hour. No adjustments to the cone, no adjustments to the intensity. So we're still on track for the system approaching South Florida sometime late tomorrow night or early Sunday morning and moving through our area, or at least along our East Coast communities through the day Sunday and then pulling away. But it's slowed down a little bit, so it's more of a Sunday event. tomorrow, normal weather. Back to you.
Okay, Eric, thanks so much. Be sure to flip over to WESH 2 News at 11. Eric's going to break down that full new forecast that just came out.
All right, have a great night.